Check it out, man. It's your boy Aklo, Action Figure 973. I'm on the Cabbages podcast right now. Yeah.
Hey there, Jeff. How's it going?
Gary don't preach. I'm watching they live. Gary don't preach. They live fucking rules. They live. I'm watching they live. I'm gonna watch some they live. Gary.
The joy.
They live, we sleep. They live, we sleep. They live, we sleep.
I gotta say,
what a film.
After the absolute shit fests
I'm
we've
in
been
heaven.
watching this season, we've watched so much shit.
I felt like my week was more productive and better, and I felt better about myself because I didn't have to watch a WWE film twice.
Like, we've been able to get through
2 times.
We were able to get through, and then some real fucking painful stuff this season, and then we gave ourselves the grace of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. We thought that's the one. Like, that's our little thing. That's our little bump that keeps us from wanting to slit our fucking wrists.
Right.
And then we gifted ourselves. We absolutely gave ourselves a gift.
This was everything to me. This is a film that saved me. I love this film. This is one of the greatest movie scenes ever filmed,
It's honestly the fight scene. And we're going to go into all that with our incredible guest today. We've got Action Figure 973.
973.
Been following in the newsletter. I've been writing about him a lot. When I'm going on these Instagram reels now and shoving my face in all your little phones, like, that's one of the guys I've been talking about.
And he loves wrestling.
He's a wrestling fan. He's a luchador. And I'm super excited to talk to him about a movie that I think we all probably are going to say we loved.
They live, we sleep.
Man, I am absolutely thrilled to introduce our guest for today's show. Joining us now is Action Figure 973, representing Belleville, New Jersey, hence the 973. This enigmatic rapper has become an unstoppable presence in the hip-hop underground. For fans of rap and wrestling, his 2025 run was inescapable, with multiple projects under his championship belt, including Luchador Body Odor, The Most Interesting Man in the World, and his Dark Side of the Ring trilogy. You can cop all of these excellent records and more on Bandcamp right now, or listen wherever music is streamed or sold. Hello, and welcome to the show.
Oh, is this where I talk?
Yeah, I just said hello.
My bad, man. Yeah,
sorry.
I was going to cut a promo on you.
That was such a good intro.
Let me tell you something about Action Figure 973, pal.
I thought you had more.
No, I got you.
Hell yeah.
Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on for us.
Nah, man. Thank you guys for having me, man. This is a different format than I'm used to. So, man, I'm glad that we got to do this. This was super fun, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're doing this season. We're focusing on wrestling. Obviously, with what you do, it seemed like a natural fit. Right. But we talked to people kind of with various backgrounds. Some people who are big wrestling fans. Some of our guests this season are not particularly big fans. They watched in the past, maybe when they were younger. That's sort of my experience. Jeff is much more versed than I am in kind of wrestling throughout the years. So sort of he's a bit of the expert kind of on our side. And so I think, it's sort of a no-brainer that you're a wrestling fan. If you listen to your work, if you follow your projects, we definitely know that you're about it. And sort of tell us a bit about your history of kind of with wrestling, kind of where you kind of picked it up and kind of how it's been with you.
Hell yeah, man. So I got caught into it. A homie was watching Raw, and I was making fun of him like the whole time while we were watching Raw. I was like, yo, you watching wrestling? Yada yada, like, just jawing off on this kid, man. And by the end, I was so dialed in, and it was the episode of Raw, man, where Undertaker, where they crucified Stone Cold Steve Austin on the Undertaker.
Oh, that's a hell of a first episode. There are a lot more boring and make funnable episodes than that one.
Right,
that's an actual great, a classic episode of the fucking.
Yeah, hell yeah. So right from there, I was hooked. They got me, man. I was like, wait, there's no more? Like, I was like, yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know how it worked, man. And I was tuned in the next week. That's when Vince McMahon was on it, when he was like, "It was me, Austin," and he takes the hood off. Just
if you had been watching, so that was like sort of the tail end of like when I stopped actually for a
right.
while.
Oh wow, okay.
Because at that point, the Vince McMahon as a character,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was like we all knew who was behind this, and they like built it up and built it up and built it up, and then they ripped the cloak off, and we're like, yeah, of course it was. It's always him. He
Yeah.
got so into himself being a villain, but
Yeah,
being a heel, he was so good at it that
yeah.
he was like
Yeah.
in way too many matches. He won belts.
Yeah.
He
He wore
dropped fucking
he wore a do-rag at one point.
racial epithets. Like he was like out
Yeah.
here and it was like, yo, the reason we didn't like you is because you're too much the boss. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now you're like only intensifying our dislike for you. At some point,
Uh-huh.
there's like a heel, and then there's like someone we just don't want to see anymore.
Right. I could agree
And
with
he
that.
like that exact episode where he like that episode of Raw where he rips out, it was me, Austin. I audibly groaned. I was like, oh, you follow up this incredible wild crucifixion episode with, by the way, the person you knew it was him. No, thank you.
That was like a crazy month, because then like Austin ended up like becoming like the CEO.
Yes.
Then they had that
a classic.
That famous episode where he was like picking up the phone at WWE headquarters.
Oh yeah, he came in and they were like, "Would you like any coffee?" And he's like, "I'll have cold beer." And then another woman's like, "Sir, would you like me to go out and get you some breakfast?" And he was like, "I am a little hungry. I'll have a cold beer." And he just sends everyone out to get him beers. It's so stupid. I love it so much. Austin's reign was incredible.
Yeah, man. Austin's my favorite. Man.
That's a cool time to pick up wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever go back? Did you go back to the old stuff and like, or is it just something you've sort of consumed?
Oh no. Like I definitely, like, with me, man. Whenever I get into something, man, then I become obsessed with it. Obviously, I'm obsessed with wrestling. Man, I was always one of those kids that would go back and like learn shit. You know what I mean? So it was like school for me. Like I would always go back and watch things, and I've had people put me on to things along the way, and you know what I mean? It's just
absolutely.
Yeah, man. So, and back when YouTube had everything, all the WWE stuff, like there was points in times where I stopped watching wrestling after a certain point, right before they got to the ruthless aggression era. I was kind of checked out from that up until like 2013. So you know what I mean. So I saw like the tail end of the Attitude Era, and then the invasion angle happened, and that excited me because I was always a fan of like ECW. I wasn't too big on WCW, minus like the Luchadors and Eddie Guerrero. And
I mean,
yeah,
in my top 5 of all time, right there.
Hell yeah,
Eddie's God.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, man, just wrestling is it was always something that put a smile on my face as a kid, and you know what I mean, it always brings back like some great memories, man. So yeah, man.
And that was sort of like my relationship with it. Was like I was definitely like, as a kid in the Superstars era, I was watching these guys, and so Piper was prominently featured during that time. When I cared about it, when I was watching these things in the 1980s, that was who I was watching. Like, there's no question. And so it's exciting to me, as a kid, to find out, okay, now there's a movie. And this was the first movie that I'd heard of. And I didn't see it at that point. I watched it a little later, but it was exciting that was the thing. And like, I guess I'm wondering, because we've been covering wrestling movies throughout the season, largely with movies starring wrestlers or prominently featuring them otherwise. Have you spent much time with any of the movies that kind of come out with these guys? I mean, you're talking about being big into it and kind of getting into it. Like, did you watch any of these WWE films?
A couple, not many of them, man. To be honest, like I've seen the Rock movies, most of the Dwayne Johnson stuff. I saw the Dean Ambrose movie. That was an interesting one. I remember I saw that during a snowstorm a few years ago. Outside of that, man, Hogan was in Three Ninjas. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like every now and then.
Is that the best Hulk Hogan movie?
Oh, I don't know. I guess so. Either that one or what was the other one that he was in?
There's a bunch. There's
yeah. There was that
Mr.
one.
Nanny,
Mr. Nanny,
Mr. Nanny, Suburban Commando, which is just a disaster.
Mr. Nanny, yeah. Mr. Nanny.
Suburban Commando might be just because of the unintentional hilarity.
Yeah, I think I'll go with the Three Ninjas movie though for sure. I think that
might be.
You might not be wrong about that. I mean, we definitely know it's not No Holds Barred. We watched that at the start of the season, and that was
just awful.
A disaster. That's a disaster of a movie.
Film. I was hoping I didn't get that one. Yeah, there's a few movies that I was hoping that we weren't going to watch.
Well, if this is the transition into the movie, you are one of the luckiest people on the face of the earth.
Truly.
Because we have never ever given a movie this good, 12 Monkeys included.
Yeah, this is that level. Like, because usually you can tell the kind of movies we do, we tend to watch films that are considered bad movies. Now, I love bad movies, so this is kind of the point.
Absolutely.
Like, to me, it's like a good bad movie is one of the best things you can find.
Yes.
But every now and then we do something and it goes against kind of what our norm is based on the theme. So, like, in this case, most of the stuff that we watch, the Rotten Tomatoes score is pitiful. We've gotten things down into single digits. John Travolta is John Gotti. Like, we've watched that level.
That's
of
a
shit.
0, by the way.
We're watching shit, like pure shit. And then, like,
this is the second highest rated movie we've ever watched.
This has an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. 86%.
But it's still only second best.
Right. Because a lot of people at the time, critics at the time, did not care for it. This is a film that's become reassessed over time as a cult classic, as a favorite for those purposes. So what you end up with is a very high score, but it didn't come out the gate being praised for what it was. You know?
Right.
But this was your first time with They Live, your first time watching this film?
Yeah, so obviously I've seen the famous scene of the bubblegum scene, you know, with the bubblegum dialogue. Aside from that, I did not see this movie, but I felt like I did, but nah, I know I definitely didn't watch it. So, and the only reason why I remember the Roddy pipe, that one specifically, I think they probably when Roddy passed away, which I think wasn't too long ago actually. I think they showed that in his Raw montage. So, yeah.
Yeah, he died in 2015, so it's now
right. I was going to say that it's probably
a little over a decade now.
So a little over a decade now, and like obviously that was one of the kind of biggest moments, you know, because in the chronology, as I'm sure you guys know, but I had to kind of research to see, he was in with WWF from like 84 to 87.
Right.
And then he wanted to do this movie. Carpenter offered him this movie. Vince McMahon, no surprise, didn't want him to do this movie.
Really?
Right.
And he said, we'll figure something out. We'll get you a movie and I'll get you paid. And he's like, I'm going to go work with John Carpenter. So he quits WWF, does 2 movies back to back. Hell Comes to Frogtown, and
bangers.
And They Live. Basically, one comes out in January. First one comes out in January. They Live comes out in November 1988. By 1989, he's back in, but as Piper said in kind of interviews, like it gave him a lot more leverage coming back into WWF with with a hit movie under his belt, you know, because it was number 1 at the box office. Again, this doesn't happen for us.
It's wild to think about it. It's wild to think about. We don't get a lot of number 1s. We've never had any.
So this movie did good. Then is what you're trying to say.
Well, with a caveat. So it did well in the sense that it was number 1 at the box office. So that's by definition. But they only gave it 4 weeks in the theaters.
Yeah,
it was gone after 4 weeks. So it had like a good first week. Its second week started to drop off. It was out of the top 10 by the 3rd week. And then after the 4th week, they took it out. And that was just, you know, with the nature of competition, how many screens you have, how many theaters you have. You know, we're not necessarily in the multiplex era. You know, I feel like in the 90s, you really had the bigger things showing up. You had fewer screens probably overall to show things on and bigger features than this. It wasn't, and again, it wasn't reviewed very well.
So now, does the blockbuster numbers get like actual like the rental numbers, and then
that's the thing with these things have second lives.
Yeah.
the
And then the
second life.
VHSs, yeah, hell yeah, man.
It became, it's so weird that it's a number one film, like number one box office draw, and a cult classic.
Right, right.
Like that's a very hard thing to do. You really do have to have a perfect circumstance of like it wasn't out very long. A lot of people who want to see it didn't see it, and then everyone just like kind of cites it as like one of the best B movies of all time.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, you got these
one of the best direct metaphor movies of all time.
And you got like these two things going for it there in terms of its longevity. One is John Carpenter, in the sense that he already had a ton of beloved movies, particularly by like horror fans and genre fans. The original Halloween, Escape from New York, Thing. Like he also was doing stuff for people. He was doing Stephen King stuff like Christine. Like he was doing so many things. People already loved his stuff. So be like, it's a John Carpenter movie. I'm going to watch it. So that gives a great chance on VHS. And then the other factor is Roddy Piper, hugely popular wrestler. After this movie, he's back and he's in WWE for a number of years after that. So he's maintaining and then leaves after WCW. I mean, I know he was in like nearly every single one of these major wrestling promotions.
Yeah,
he was in he was in TNA for a minute, I think too.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
So like his popularity only serves to make this thing be, here I am, a kid at the video store, and I see Roddy Piper movie. Okay, I'm gonna rent this. It's Friday night. I'm gonna rent this. Why not? I wasn't gonna see it in I went see it in theaters. I was still a little kid at that point. But when you could go to the store and your parents say you could rent a video this week, it's like, well, you're gonna hone in on something like that. So I think that speaks a lot to how it became this sort of beloved film in that respect, because it didn't have a chance to have a natural audience beyond those 4 weeks. It didn't, I'm telling you, there are worse films that came out in the 2000s that were around for 8 weeks in theaters. I'm not saying they were in every theater, but they had a longer lifespan because there were so many more.
How long do you think Marcy X spent in the theater?
Right, exactly.
Probably longer than this.
Possibly. I know. So like this comes out, and the funny thing about McMahon being against this movie is that like when McMahon finally gets to do a movie, the following year is 1989. No Holds Barred is that movie. And to its credit, as much as we shit on that movie, it didn't premiere at number 2 at the box office. So it did not like completely shit the bed.
It did bomb.
It bombed ultimately.
It just sucked.
But it got very close in that first weekend.
Yeah, because there was star power and like Hulk was, Hulk was the man. Like everyone wanted to see Hulk. I think in an earlier episode, it was the No Holds Barred episode, we kind of really went on a long tangent about how this was like one of the first big movies starring a wrestler.
Right.
And we totally whiffed on the fact that this came out a year earlier.
I think I didn't.
This is actually the first big movie with a wrestler in it.
Yeah, this
it is a trendsetter in that regard.
I mean, you're talking about like where it's really. I think the only other thing we could probably say is maybe like Rocky 3. I think maybe we can basically, but
that's
Mr. T.
That's a cameo.
Rocky 3, and that's a smaller role versus the lead. Yeah. But nonetheless, like this is the one. This is the one that really kind of does that. And like, so immediately he shows up on screen and you know exactly who he is. And you're wrestling fan. If you are a wrestling fan, past or present, and you see that him show up on screen, you immediately have an impression of who this guy is going to be.
Oh, right.
Like right away.
Immediately, as soon as I saw him, I had a smile on my face. So yeah, man. Yeah, that's always a good thing. Yeah.
It's really something because like there's goodwill right there. And I think one of the things like the wrestlers who I was fans of in the Superstars era, a lot of times it was people who like the people who I rooted for, and I had very positive feelings about Roddy Piper. So it totally made sense to me.
He was heel, but he was an over heel. Like everyone loved him. He was a lovable heel for sure. One thing, his performance is not exactly lauded. People were not into this, you know what I mean? This idea. They didn't like they sort of picked at him for being an amateur. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which I understand from a critical standpoint, because when you're stacking this up against Halloween, when Jamie Lee Curtis went on to have one of the more sparkling careers in history, The Thing, which like Keith David is dope, but also Kurt Russell, who had a long, phenomenal run. Like all of them are very well acted, well cast, and then this thing comes along and its main star is kind of a bumbling dunderpate tough guy. You know what I mean? Like he's a
So this is the one thing
he's a
that
dumb tough guy.
yeah, this is the one thing that my wife pointed out. She was like, "Yo, she's like, this movie doesn't have a lot of dialogue."
Well, it takes so long
Yeah,
to actually
yeah,
get to that. Like
yeah.
you
Right.
get him, get the long shots of him
Mhm.
at the
A
rail
lot of
yard,
walking, a lot of walking.
a lot of walking through the
He
streets of Los Angeles.
he was homeless as a teen and got into wrestling specifically because like it was a job. He wasn't formally trained or anything. He was just a big kid who could scrap because he was, out in the streets scrapping for food, scrapping for survival.
So he didn't study with the Hearts.
Not right away. Uh, so he studied at the School of Hard Knocks,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sort of like I forget exactly. I looked this up earlier, but now I'm forgetting. But he
Mhm.
basically like stumbled in a way into wrestling,
Mhm.
and it saved his life. And he says it in interviews multiple times, over and over again. This business saved my life. It means more to me than anything. Like all these other people that talk about the business, they not all of them were saved by it.
Mhm.
Like the only reason I'm on Earth is because this thing pulled me out of the muck.
100%. Yeah.
So he
so he can
has
pull it off. He can pull off
real
the character.
experience.
Yeah.
Like when he sits in the like he's trying to get a job. He's in the unemployment office.
Yeah.
Then
That speech he gives about like they lost. He's trying to find sympathy from people that no longer have any to give because everyone has the same story.
Yeah.
And he's just like they lost 16 banks. They and these are things. He knew how to deliver those lines and be serious about it and be like, I know that you can't get me anything, but really, can you get me anything, please?
I mean,
When he shows up to the job site and he's like, I brought my own tools.
I mean, everything about like his lines up until really up until the sunglasses.
Right.
Everything up until that point you're watching what really would just be a drama, a
Yeah.
movie about poverty, a movie about the failures of the American dream in the Reagan era, the failures of Reaganomics. I mean it's I mean that the film is it's heavy-handed and it's kind of political satire, but like and for sure. But like you're watching it for that first like 20 minutes or so, and you're going, you know what? This is a pretty serious movie. This is a
Yeah.
movie where like everything that's happening is pretty serious. And then there's something going on over there. What's going on over there? And he discovers what's happening at this church, and there's some sort of conspiracy that he's uncovering. And then it just completely goes in an entirely new direction. Where if you walked in here not knowing about it, you just kind of walked in off the street, you would have been like, "What just happened?"
yeah. That was my reaction. I was like, "What the hell just happened in this movie, man?"
It just changes so quickly.
Yeah.
Like it switches on you so quickly. And then he goes from being, and I love this about how this is, I've watched this movie multiple times. We watch these movies for these episodes. We watch them twice. I watched this. The last time I watched this was a couple years ago too. So like I've seen this multiple times in the past few years. And so I can say that I'm watching this and I appreciate like he gives this line about his like so there he is with Keith David, who's phenomenal in this. And Keith David says, about all the economic woe and, socioeconomic woes that he deals with and, what it's been like for him. And like Roddy Piper has sort of got this real like pull it up by your bootstraps, real sort of American bootstraps mentality.
Yeah.
And
There's
how,
a conservative speaking to a liberal about the
yeah,
same issue.
yeah.
One of them is like, I'm tired of the bullshit. The other one is, what are you tired for? You know what I mean? Like,
You just got to keep working hard
yeah,
and you'll
just
get
work
there.
hard. Everything will be fine. And then across the street is like the resistance.
Yes, the actual resistance.
Yeah,
Is
the
right
actual
there.
resistance. And then the aliens. The big reveal is they're aliens.
They're
The people that
aliens.
are running all this shit and making you miserable are aliens.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That shift's what gets me because then the shift happens not just in what happens to the character because suddenly he's like the scene change, everything changes. And suddenly now he's like, I can see what's happening. I see what's going on under the surface. This is insane,
Yeah.
and kind of dealing with that in fairly real time. But it also changes the aspects of his personality that we've seen. Suddenly he starts delivering these insane one-liners that because he barely said anything before that, and now he's
Right.
suddenly saying like the craziest shit. He said, of course, there's the classic, I've come here to chew
Bubble
bubble
gum
gum
and
and kick
Yeah, he
ass,
does.
and I'm all out of bubble gum. He says shit like, "Brother, life's a bitch, and she's back in heat.
Yeah.
Mama don't like tattletales." It's so
I'm
many
not
fucking lines.
I'm not my daddy's boy anymore.
No.
That whole speech,
Yeah.
it's awesome and I love it, but it's also completely pointless. There's no
But it,
reason for it whatsoever
What
other
about
than to give him a little more color.
little depth, little depth.
what
Yeah.
about the scene when he put the sunglasses on and just started like cracking on everybody?
Yes.
Oh, I wrote those down too because the personal insults are golden. So like I
Yeah,
wrote them down. I wrote a bunch of them down because it's just like he goes, "You look like your head fell in the cheese dip back in 1957."
yeah.
He goes, "I take these glasses off. She looks like a regular person, doesn't she? Put them back on. Formaldehyde face."
Yeah. That was my favorite one.
It's
Uh,
funny. It's even funnier because he's trying to sort of like commiserate with people who haven't worn the glasses
yeah,
because it's
you.
brand new still.
He
So
goes,
he thinks other people know what's going on, and then he realizes when they start calling in and being like,
"Yeah,
"I got one that can see," he's
yeah.
like,
What's
"Wait a
happening?"
minute. Are you saying I'm the only one that knows what's going on right now?" Like
Mhm.
it dawns on him, and that's
Yeah.
a really excellent scene.
The commiserating bit is great because there's a line where he goes, there's one part where he goes, you're okay. This one, real fucking ugly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fucking lost it. I fucking lost it.
Yeah.
I was
My
like, no
favorite
way.
line in the whole movie, and I can't quote it verbatim, but is in that scene when he is walking through and he looks over, he sees two aliens talking to each other, and one of the aliens is like, "She put out blue corn chips." I mean, how outdated! And they're both like hysterically laughing, and it cuts back to him, and he's just like, "The fuck? Like, what is happening?" It totally throws him. I love it.
I could definitely see like a version of this movie through like the lens of a Tim Robinson. I think you could leave like sort of absurdity of what the fuck is happening, and
What
just
the fuck?
he
Yeah,
can't like he's just trying to figure out what's happening in this, and we as the audience are too. Like he's really
correct.
representing the audience very well in those moments where we are sitting there being like, these are fucking ugly as sin, but what is happening here? How is any of this happening? And then he just starts killing cops, which,
Right.
oh
What are
well.
you gonna do?
I
Yeah.
mean,
What can you do, right?
we
Was
get to like the heart of it.
California, was NWA out at the time?
I'm just saying, yeah, we clearly we're in California, we're in Los Angeles. I mean, we're
Yeah.
downtown. He doesn't really leave downtown for the bulk of the film, except when they transport to the underground zone, which we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
So the one thing that I was meaning to ask you guys, and I was hoping maybe maybe you guys could give me the clarity on it. You
sure.
know, like the parts where he sees like the obey, right? Is that where like the clothing line came from? I don't know
Yeah,
if you remember
Yes,
because
correct.
it is.
yeah,
So Shep should. So
they had I remember they had the Andre the Giant image for obey for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
So I was
that
wondering if that's where it came from.
So the artist, the graphic designer, Shepard Fairey, who did a lot of work with like Supreme and a few other and other over the years, like he took direct inspiration, including the Obey is like literally ripped from that. But he took direct inspiration from the movie for that. He absolutely does, and he does credit the film for that. So it's entirely based on that. Like that was the sort of thing. Like this is a film that definitely resonates with people in interesting ways and kind of became part of culture
Absolutely.
separate from it. I
Right.
think this idea, like, is this the kind of idea that it came from a short story. It's the kind of thing you would have seen as like a Twilight Zone episode at some point. That's the sort of like twist, but like the
You
way
know,
it's handled is so different.
it's funny. I read the short story for the first time for this pod.
Do you have your book report ready?
I do.
Okay,
It's my book report would easily outpace it. It's 6 pages.
it's longer than the story. Okay.
The story is six like pages, and it's not even a full 6 pages. There's like a title and author page of it. It's about a little over 5 pages,
Yeah.
and it's a man is hypnotized, and then when he's like a group of people are hypnotized at like a show, when they wake him up, they wake him up fully by accident, and he can see the aliens and no one else can. So there's no glasses, there's none of that. It's a very short, very succinct. The controlling people control everything. There's no like TV element. And so he gets a call in the story, page 3. He gets a call, and they're like, "Well, you've made it. Tomorrow is like your day to die." You die tomorrow at 8 in the morning and your heart will stop. And that'll be it. And he was like, cool, thank you. Because he was trying to put on that, he didn't want them to know they could see him.
Mm.
And then he goes on a killing spree. And then the end of the story is incredible. He just like dies at 8 a.m. because his heart stops. Like they're still in control and there's nothing he can do about it. It's really distinct and it's a cool story. But this thing is so much wilder and crazier. Like, how did they make 90 minutes out of that story? It's nuts. Fucking Carpenter. He's a genius.
I mean, you got to give Carpenter credit for like what he's able to do and kind of. I mean, I think you also get to 93 minutes by having a 35-minute fight scene between
right
Keith David and
you timed it.
I did time it.
How long? How long was it?
So it's 5.5 minutes.
Did you go from first punch?
I went.
Or did you go from full fight?
Here's the thing: is when I clocked it, and again, I'm seeing online where it says it's like 5.5 minutes. Yeah. I clocked it as closer to 6 minutes from the first punch.
I clocked from the first punch.
The first punch on. I said that to me.
So I'm on 6 minutes as well. Okay.
So that's where I got to that. But like you'll see people kind of cite it online and say, "Oh, it's 5.5 minutes," but like. That scene, which again, in terms of how it's reached culture, we've heard a bunch of things about that, like how it's shown up in places and it's inspired other people, including like in films like The Wrestler, for example. But
if we're going to talk about the fight scene, I gotta get ready.
Please get in there. I mean, this isn't fucking Lemonade, I'll tell you what. Anyway, so we're enjoying ourselves over here. But the thing for me is that scene goes on for so much longer.
Yes.
It feels so much longer than it actually is. Timing for 6 minutes, but it felt like 12. And I don't mean in a bad way. I don't mean in a bad way. I just mean like it feels like you're watching two people beat the living shit out of each other.
Right.
Actually, let me ask you this. How many times did you think the fight was over before?
I definitely think it was like at least 5 times. I thought the fight was finally over.
That's the correct answer. It ends 5 different times.
It kept starting, and then my man Keith David pulled out a sidewalk slam. That was my.
That was sick. I think there was a sidewalk slam and a belly to back.
Yeah.
In this one, and I was like, dude, that's so cool. That like. Guaranteed, Roddy was like, "Oh, dude, just sidewalk slam me." And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And then they
probably taught him the sidewalk slam. So, like that part. When I thought about the movie, man, I felt like Carpenter just wanted to see a bunch of random people fight Roddy Piper. That's how I felt by the end of the movie, man.
I mean, but that's how he cast him. I mean, he saw him at WrestleMania in '87. It was like, oh, I want you to be in the movie.
That's my guy.
Like it's like because I mean I think if this had been I think the original idea had been this would be Kurt Russell again who had been in like 4 of his movies at that point. But I thought but like I think Kurt Russell obviously was having his own film career, was kind of going his own stuff, so like it didn't work out in that way. But I think this is perfect for it because it's such a physical role and there's so much that happens with it that requires it. That fight scene requires somebody who knows how to do that, and it's like it's not like when you watch action movies and there's
it's
like
about selling. The scene is sold so well, and that that's his whole job is to sell every strike is like the end all be all of existence. I mean, he's fighting for the IC belt, he's fighting some former champs. He's always in the mix of like the top of the company, though he never was a champion, which is unbelievable. Him and Mr. Perfect are the two for me where it's like, you couldn't give those guys the belt. Yeah. Never. It just had to be Hulk the whole time. Moving on. I'm bitter about it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's
just like Scott Hall never having the big gold.
Never had it. Yes. Never had it. Nash had it what felt like a billion times, but no Scott Hall. So the sell on this thing was so incredible. Like he knew how to make it look like he was beat, but he wasn't quite licked.
Yeah.
Like he'd lay down for a while. There was one finally at the end where he's really knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
And he's laying there and you're like, well, obviously this is it. There's no more. And he fucking gets up and they fight again. But like he does it slow. Like he rolls onto one side and like pushes up with one arm and he's like his head's hanging and he's beat up, but he's like, I'm not quitting. He's just so good at that. I mean, like he's got years of incredible training that make him incredible at that.
I watch a lot of action movies, and I realize that we've absolutely been kind of like indoctrinated into this idea that fight scenes in action movies, even the big finales, are not meant to be particularly long. Like
Right.
after 3 minutes, there's a victor, or they've changed in some way, and
Right.
that fight's going to have to continue 15 minutes from now because some other thing is in play. Now it's an entirely different location. So
Right.
like
That's like most street fights are usually under 3 minutes
yeah,
when you think about it.
you know,
Yeah.
there's
Oh, dude. Honestly, most fights, I've been around a bunch of fights in my life. Only one of them lasted a while. Most of them were just like pop, 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 and then like either it gets broken up or someone's done because
yeah, I
like
mean,
one
most people
person
don't know how to
had an
defend.
advantage. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
most people don't know how to defend themselves.
It-
Somebody is better at offense,
Most
and
of my
it's
friends
over.
could fight, and
Yeah.
they like when I was living in a rough town,
They
Mm.
can hit,
they can hit. They can hit.
hit. Yeah,
So like, the fight would be mostly my friends being like, I don't want to fight you. Please don't do this to yourself. And they're like, that only revs people up more. And then it was just like, plop, plop, two piece, and it's over. This person just is like, I've seen dudes cold knocked out and wake up and go, who hit me?
yeah.
I've seen that.
Staring
I've
at
seen
the
a few
dude
of
that hit
those
them,
before.
saying, who hit me? And the guy's like, I did. I hit you. And he's like,
Stay
no,
down.
who hit me? And he's like, no, that was me. Come on, man. Like I've more than once in my life, but actually many times in my life, the loser of the fight ends up being helped up by the person that beat them up, or basically just popped them once, take them to somewhere safe, sit them down, and then like when they wake up, they're there to be like, hey man, stop this. You're not good at this. Stop. Don't
Yeah.
like people like me will feast on you, and they're going to be a lot angrier people. You're going to
Right.
get killed doing some dumb shit because you can't defend yourself. And I just be sitting there like, this is fucking amazing. And they would
Yeah.
become friends. Like these people would all become friends. It's wild.
Yeah.
What I'm
Two
saying
piece.
is the male
Two-piece
loneliness
somebody
epidemic could
and
be stopped by fighting dudes. Just
yeah.
go pop some dudes.
It's called Fight
Um,
Club. David
Then have a
Fincher.
therapy session after, but you gotta have the therapy session after. You know what I mean?
Right, like you need to realize you need to learn from your mistakes on this one, big
Have a
guy.
come to Jesus moment for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I think that's what separates this fight. Then what makes this fight so iconic, for lack of a better, it's just like it doesn't
It's a special
flinch.
scene.
It keeps going, and it is clearly. I mean, you read about it now, and they spent weeks practicing that fight. So like Piper's clearly showing Keith David how to do
Right.
this stuff, how to sell it. The two of them are doing a phenomenal job at it. Like they were ready for it. And like apparently, at least at one point, like Carpenter wanted to see what it was like, and like allegedly, Piper put Carpenter to sleeper hold at one point.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, it's pretty cool. That Carpenter was a younger man back then, so I'm sure he could
Guaranteed
handle
Carpenter,
the part.
but like when you see it in interviews in this era and people are making fun of them for being wrestlers and they like put them in some sort of hold, they'll do it with the intention of putting you out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I doubt that that's the sleeper hold he got.
Yeah,
And I know that they probably had a tap system. It's like,
Yeah,
all right,
I'm
it hurts,
sure.
it hurts.
But like Carpenter clearly knew this was going to be an important part of this film, and it's also it's of the metaphors in the film. It's one of the most overt ones. It is that instead of class war, instead of fighting against the
Put the
rich,
fucking glasses on.
it's like instead of that and recognizing who the real enemy is, put the fucking glasses on. It's black people and white people are going to fight. We're going to pit races
That's
against
it.
each other. And that's what that scene represents. And I didn't quite, when I first saw it when I was younger, that didn't quite resonate the way that it does now. When I watch
Yeah.
it now and I go, oh shit, like this is entirely, and it is very heavy handed in how they do it. Like literally, they're beating the shit out of each other until
And
it's
and it's
nothing.
a stalemate. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's not one side or one human beating up another human. They go at it, and like sometimes it looks like it's over because the like staunch kind of more conservative bootstraps guy has done his job and is going to put these glasses on him, and then all of a sudden it'll flip its head, and the like liberal dude who doesn't want to see the truth, you know what I'm saying, is like
Pulls out the sidewalk.
it's so balanced.
Yeah,
And I literally it beats you over the head.
Yeah.
It literally beats him over the head.
But I will say, like this film starts off as this kind of slow drama.
Yeah.
revs up at that stage. But then after that fight, when it truly becomes the buddy film, that to me is when the film gets great.
Yes.
Because now Carpenter's like,
100%.
he's not individually crazy.
Is that the start of Act 3?
I would say
It's
yes, because
close.
from there it's they go to the flop house.
Yeah, and then the meeting.
They end up connecting with one of the revolution leaders, and then
Right.
they go to the meeting, and then the meeting gets
Just not
attacked.
entirely clear how that happened, but
I have a theory.
yeah, I want that theory.
Yeah, I mean, I think what happens is that's Holly. That's exactly where we haven't talked about Holly just yet. But I think
Yeah.
Holly's purpose is to like, how does she show up there? Really? How does she get
Oh,
there?
I mean, how do they get connected with the leader?
What do you mean?
So like the leader just shows up at their flop house.
Well,
And
because
it's
the
like, what's
leader
up, dude?
because the leader was there in the he was part of the church stuff at the beginning.
Yeah, I knew that. But what I'm
So
saying
okay.
is,
Oh yeah,
how did like they've gotten in the fight, they go to the flop house, they're hanging out in the flop house. All of a sudden, he's just there, and it's
yeah,
like, "Hey, what's up?" And he sees them in the glasses,
yeah.
but he's like hanging out in their hall, waiting for them to get back.
Well, first thing to point
Do
out
you
is
think he
that
was there to try and recruit them? But like, how did he find them?
I mean that may be a plot hole, but I'm willing to accept that at this point, Roddy Piper is a wanted criminal at this
Mm,
stage. His
Uh,
face is plastered places. People know to look for him. And this guy probably has a particularly keen interest in him because he's like, well, he has the glasses. He knows what's going on. They're trying to go after people who know, all right, shit, like I need
yeah,
to find this guy. So I think probably some looking, but they don't go very far from where they've been. They're
right.
down, they're still in
yeah.
That's
downtown
all
LA.
true, and like, it's very possible that we're just. I've seen it a lot of times,
Yeah.
but it's possible that like maybe this was a known hideout that people
Well,
would know that generally people would know that if you're displaced from being homeless,
mm,
this is one of the cheapest games in town, and
yeah.
you could probably find some stragglers from that camp.
And keep in mind, he was arguing when they still were at the church. That character was arguing with the preacher and the bearded
Yeah,
man about like they
about
needed
strategy.
muscle. They needed
Yeah,
strategy and they needed muscle. They needed people who were
yeah.
actually willing to take up arms and fight. So there's a recruitment process in that
So he
specific
wants
area.
them to like now they're in a vulnerable position. He can recruit them. I think maybe the glasses, them having the glasses on already was like a bonus for him. It was
That's
like,
a
oh,
tell for
great, you
him.
know, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, come on, I'll see you at the thing. This has been very easy for me.
Come join the revolution
Oh,
now.
you found the glasses. Great, great.
Yeah.
um, Holly, we got to talk about Holly.
Well, first of all, she's a very distinctive looking actress, the woman who plays her.
Uh-huh.
And so your immediate thing when you see her for the first time is you go, "Oh, that's an alien, right?"
Right.
And it's just not. She's just got a very distinctive look with the blue eyes and the way that she's presents. And her affect is really unusual. The way she
Mhm.
speaks and communicates, how she talks with him when they're at the house is really striking.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're never in a position where you trust her, especially because she throws him through a fucking
Yeah.
window. You know,
Yes. She may be the most violent character.
I mean, she commits second to him, I'd say, second to Piper. She may be the most violent character in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, she tossed him out the window, but then I think Piper got a little too sloppy, man. Just letting her go get a drink, and he gave her too much time to do that. I saw that coming, man. I
The
saw it all.
glasses zap your energy. They like mess up your
Yeah,
brain, and he wasn't
yeah.
thinking clearly, I
But
don't
yeah, he
think.
was definitely, but that's definitely, he slipped at that point. Like, he was definitely his opportunity to be like, to keep control of the situation, but he was just too wiped from the experience, and
In an
she took
era
advantage.
of just a quick point, in an
Mm,
era of like super fucking go team America superheroes.
yeah,
Like, your Stallones, you know what I'm talking about.
sure, yeah,
These over the top, pun intended, like crazy action heroes.
your Chuck Norris's, yeah, all these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger.
absolutely.
Exactly,
All these
exactly.
over the top dudes who can never get hurt, no matter how many times you shoot them, no matter how many times you stab them, no matter how many times you throw them through a plate glass window. They're just not hurt. And then this dude is really a bumbler. He doesn't know what he's doing at all.
He gets hurt
He
so
just makes
much.
random wild decisions. He's just like, you know what? The bank. I'm just going to shoot people at the bank and not take any money. It's the wildest decisions. And he gets like beat up. Like these people whip his ass, but
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
steadfast in his resolution to make sure that they kill these aliens. It's a pretty amazing character in an era of like, they're all like shiny and just cut and never lose, and like everyone whips his ass. Everyone. Aliens whip his ass. David whips his ass. She whips his ass. Like everybody's just beating him to death.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
He gets knocked down in the grocery store. Like, I mean, he is not like, I always respect.
He's shoved over in a grocery store and just like, I'm getting out of here.
Because most of the action films you watch, especially nowadays, it's like everybody is John Wick. Everybody is like an unstoppable ex-military strategic genius killing machine.
Statham's.
Every single one. I love a Statham movie.
Me
I
too.
love those films. But like, let's be honest, like that's an archetype that kind of exists that just is a bit frustrating if you're like hoping to see maybe something
Absolutely.
relatable. Like, you can sell it and it can be fun.
This
like,
is a refreshing change of pace for that era, is all I'm saying.
to see that Piper, but of course, like you finally in that third act, when now it's Piper and David, those two guys together, and they're the duo. Suddenly they are, and again, this is part of the metaphor. They are more powerful together than they were individually, alone.
Right.
So united, they are able to take down the system. I mean, the messaging is so overt there. It's so clear there what Carpenter is trying to do. It's like, look how much stronger they get when they're together. Like once they're actually together, they become a totally different type of unit.
Holly complicates things, and one character is obviously into her and like wants to save her and be like the savior man.
Yeah.
And ride off into the sunset with her. And the other one, Keith David's character, is the whole time like, who fucking cares about this woman?
Yeah.
Let's go. Like, let's go. This thing could be over now, but we keep fucking around with this woman. You know what I'm saying?
And this is where Piper's character becomes Captain Save-A-Ho. And
Right.
he learns his lesson the
hardest possible way.
Exactly. Yeah, like, and this is where you get into like the kind of morality of the film, where it's like, no, you can't trust people because many of them are indebted to the system or benefit from the system that was keeping you. And she's working for these people, whether you want to accept it or not.
Right.
Roddy Piper, but you have some sort of
she's complicit.
Romantic thing. She's complicit.
She's
not
complicit,
a collaborator.
and you know that she's complicit from almost the beginning.
Right.
But he's the only one that's blind to it, right?
Right. I don't understand his naivety that he has, where she just threw you out the window, and all of a sudden she's here trying to stop the aliens.
And you're like smiling. You're like,
yeah, you don't question it. You don't question it not one bit.
Like, it just shows him again. He's clearly been like alone, and some positive female attention, being kind of alone and homeless and drift.
Good point.
But from all these places, coming from Denver all the way out to LA, like he's been through a lot, and he's been through a lot of it by himself.
Easily susceptible to wiles.
Exactly. And she doesn't have to try very much. There's no real physical, like they don't plug in. There's no sex scene in this film. There's no like thing where they plug in. Like Carpenter's like, we don't have time for that. This is 93 minutes. We're not going to bother.
This is a slim volume.
No romantic subplot. No, we're going right to it. So then it doesn't surprise me.
Which I appreciate as well.
It doesn't surprise me when she ends up betraying them in such an ugly way by the end. Which like just killing. I gasped when she kills Keith David. I gasped at that scene.
Yeah,
I didn't think anybody was gonna pass away out of those two in the movie.
Yeah, you think they're gonna triumph, and you're like, okay, like because now they're unstoppable together. And then here she is. We let the wrong person in, and we trusted the wrong person, and now boom, there he goes. We lost one of our best people right there. Yeah. And then it's up to Piper by himself to solve it. And of course, he does so at the expense of his own life, but he, essentially he wakes the world up by doing this thing. So
it explains her being at the meeting because obviously she was leading the cops there.
Yes. Although they were firing sort of indiscriminately in her direction. I don't think
I really love that because then she's kind of looking around like, why are you doing it this way? Like, yeah. I was told these people would just be arrested and taken away.
I could just infiltrate them and
Which,
provide you
like,
information.
if that doesn't hit home right now, I don't know what does.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But like, yeah, no, you don't get together a violent squadron of humans with lots of weapons and then say those people are the enemy, and then they go in and are like nice to them.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. No, they're not gonna like calmly cuff them, and like it ain't gonna go down like that. They came in and wrecked the joint.
Yeah.
And their whole point was to eliminate this threat entirely.
So actually, let me ask you about your thoughts on the ending of this film, because you were saying that you thought the two of them, the two leads, were going to triumph in the end, and
Right.
as survivors.
Right.
What was sort of your feeling, kind of your reaction to how this film ultimately plays out in the end?
I was taking along for the wild ride, man. So like once we got to the part where they killed Keith David, I was like, oh, like obviously I was like, oh no, why would they kill Keith David? Such a treasure, the voice of Spawn. And then and then they ended up Piper sacrificed himself too. Then it had me think. I was like, wow, what the hell was the whole point of this whole movie? They were gonna die at the end. And yeah, I was left with a lot of questions and I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. That wasn't what I expected going into it. I thought, we were gonna have a happy ending to it, which I didn't know how there would. That was the other thing too. Like I was also like wondering, like in between that, like how was this supposed to end? And like I don't know, it's kind of one of those things where it kind of made sense that everybody died at the end, because even the girl dies at the end too.
Yep. Yeah,
they're all sacrificed for the waking up of society.
Right.
And I love,
and then we
get to see it. We get to see it.
We get to see a very small sliver, like a little vignette. There it is. Little vignettes of like people realizing that they're surrounded by aliens.
Jeff, what was your favorite of the vignettes?
My favorite is
What's your favorite one?
It's in the studio. It happens right after the first. I think it might be the first thing we see
in the TV studio.
Hint that we see that people can now see the aliens. Is the woman is sitting there doing the newscast. And all of a sudden, you hear in the background, "Is like, I forget her name." She goes, "Barbara, you look like shit." Smash cuts to, I think, the bar. It's just like an absolutely perfect. You look like shit. It gets me every single time because I forget about it every time.
Yeah, it's a good line.
Oh man, the last
so there's
47 seconds of this film are perfect.
So like it's just you watching all these people just wake up to the reality of what's happening around them. Right. So suddenly you're in the there's the bar scene where they're watching what seems to be like a Siskel and Ebert type program on TV.
Yes.
Complaining about
John Carpenter.
John Carpenter.
Yeah. They actually mention him by name,
which is very funny. They're both aliens, so you got that. They're both aliens, and then it skips to there's the bar, and there's people in the bar suddenly realizing that everybody who looks different, and then it ends with there's a naked woman riding on top of.
Oh yeah.
The alien, an alien.
I do remember this.
And the film ends with him just saying, "What's wrong, baby?"
Incredible
fucking movie.
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So you saw the whole thing. It just cuts right there. It's like that credits.
There was another part that we're not talking about too, when they were in that big building and they talked about 2025 and that bugged me out too. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when they were
present.
So they're down because we didn't really go into when they're down in that underground when he uses the watch to get them down there, figures out how it works.
The watch malfunctions,
and they show that that's right.
He throws the watch because I don't remember why, but it malfunctions. Like you have 10 seconds to get into
this hole,
we'll get in the hole, replacement watch.
Yeah. So he does that, and they go through there, and then they end up in that ballroom. Where they see them talking about, and they were talking about 2025, and I said, "Well, that's fucking scary." That
shit is wild. That's a wild scene.
Yeah,
they don't even notice them because they just assume everyone there is. If you found your way in there, you have to be safe. Just like they thought in the meeting room, in the warehouse where they're having the resistance meeting.
Yeah.
They think that's a safe zone. She even says, you don't need to wear your glasses in here. These are all safe people.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And so both of those spaces are very easily taken. by the way.
Yeah, I mean it's very easy to infiltrate, and I think the idea was that they just assumed if you had the watch and you were able to get into this space, then you were one of
You
them.
were safe.
And if you're a human or an alien, doesn't matter because if you're in that space,
And
you're
then
you're on
our
their
friend
side.
from earlier, the bum, rolls up and is like,
Oh my
"Oh, it's
God.
great to see you guys here. Like, you also have sold out, basically." And like
Yeah.
gives them the tour, which leads them right to the source.
And
It's
just
genius.
the way that as he's doing this, leading them closer and closer to their goal, they're just grinning the whole time. Piper
Yeah.
and David are just grinning, like just shit-eating grins the whole time, just like, okay, yeah, I never been in a TV studio before.
So this thing is Act One. He's so good at it. Act One is up until he puts on the glasses.
Yes,
Act Two is up until they go through the hole.
go through the hole.
And then the third act is the bunker up to the station.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I might make a case that it's once they kind of unite and go to the meeting, but I think the whole is perfect fine
Either
for
one.
saying where it goes through. I think
It
you're
still
right.
works either way. Is that this thing is
Yeah,
a beautifully put together three
yeah.
act film.
Like I don't think we needed to see anything further at the end. I don't think we needed to
No.
see more of what happens when society now sees what's happening and it all breaks down and
Like so many, we've done a Carpenter film like this before. Like
we
so many
did.
of them, there is a wide open door to create that film a sequel
Yeah.
that would be very interesting rather than more claptrap. Like the
Yeah.
heroes are gone, so this
Yeah.
would just be dealing with the aliens,
Yeah, you don't reach there's no retread. The
the
question
public
becomes
reaction, and how they deal with the aliens and what the war
So
looks
now,
like.
so now the question I have for you guys:
mm,
Yeah.
so if they were to do a part two, man, how would you guys book it, man?
Let's talk about it. Let's talk.
yes.
This is one of our favorite questions.
I love it.
Oh man, I love it.
There's the perfect question to end on too. Absolutely. So, Jeff, do you have some thoughts or do you want me to dive
You
in?
go ahead.
All
I'd
right.
like to hear. I've been talking a lot on
First
this.
of
This is
all-
one of my favorite movies of all time.
First of all, I'll say Carpenter wanted to do a sequel. So
Okay.
he wanted to do a sequel.
Correct.
And then there was a period of time in the 2010s, in the early 2010s, where they were going to do either a sequel or a reboot, and it seemed to
Right.
lean more towards the reboot side. And they were going to
Not
have
necessary.
Matt Reeves, who directed like two of the Planet of the Apes movies and directed the Robert Pattinson Batman film. He was going to be the guy to do it. So he does Planet of the Apes instead, and then
I think that's a good trade-off. We didn't
Look,
need that. Planet of
it
the
worked
Apes was
out.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like to think about it purely as like a what would we do as a sequel? I think there's two options. I think one, you're in the immediate aftermath of this situation. Now it's the aliens versus the humans and how they because the aliens have to be more organized. They
Right.
must have a contingency plan for what's going to happen if they were ever discovered. We know they have the ability to escape to their homeworld, because we saw how they travel. So
Right.
we know that there's ways they could all go to their little watches and zap out of those places. So there's that. So either it's the like, how do we get to the humans versus aliens side of it? The other is the aliens figure out a way to regain control of the populace. And then it's about somebody else waking up or some other movement that exists that knows what's going on and trying to fight it. I think those are the two things for me that would have made worthwhile sequels. It's either suddenly the alien. It's because it's the same way that you think about like with the Matrix movies. It's like the Matrix. It's like when they reveal. Have you seen the Matrix movies? I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't seen them.
No, it's okay. I'm not interested in them.
So one of the reveals,
My guy.
one of the reveals in the sequel in the second Matrix movie is that the simulation that they're in has been
Right.
rebooted multiple times.
Okay.
So it's not just one thing. There's always been a simulation. They've always been kind of calculating for this. So I think there's a version of this where you can say, "Oh, humans have figured out that we did this before.
Yeah.
They figured this out when we got better at it.
Yeah.
All right, we know how to reset this. We know how to get it back so that they're back in line and everything's fine again. We'll get the signal back up. There's a backup forever. Because everything we see happens at the end happens in a very short period of time. This could have been
Yeah.
a glitch that could have
It
lasted
was
15.
truly
It
the
could have taken them
immediate-
15. It could have taken them 15 minutes to get everything.
It was
back
the
up.
most immediate aftermath you could do, which is something he's really good at. Like
So-
the thing ends with like the mystery of who's the thing, who's the thing?
Yeah, right.
Is
Exactly.
anyone the thing?
hmm
And like, but also the thing is hopefully going to die there. So like, hopefully, you never know.
No,
So
your
that's the
sequel
thing is
thoughts.
that they did they did more things with that, right? Like they did more
Sure.
movies with that.
Hmm.
Uh, what was the red one? The Mars one?
Ghost of Mars.
Ghost of Mars was like made to explain the better movie that was coming.
Right.
The sequel was going to be better. It was going to be
The
a
really
big,
awesome,
fun action movie
yeah,
starring
starring
two cool ass people that now
Ice
you
Cube and
know
Natasha
really well.
Henstridge are
Yeah,
gonna fuck shit up.
people you know really well now. This was going to be really fun.
Yeah.
He does this a lot of the point being he does this in a lot of his movies where it's like an or is it
Yeah.
like and that's it or is it
Right. Yeah. I mean, he did that with Escape from New York and to Escape from LA. Like he actually got to do
absolutely.
that. Yeah. So what
And
do you?
if this thing, who are you casting? That was the question.
Yeah, that's gonna be my next
Okay.
question.
So there we go. So okay. So you're thinking about sequel. Well, who would you put in there?
No, man, we wanted your answer first.
Okay.
You got to go first.
I mean,
Are
definitely
you going to
not.
stay with the classic? Like, so it's got to be a wrestler. I think it should be.
I
Yeah, I
mean, well,
feel like it should be.
if we got to go with a wrestler, then I am absolutely going to say this is the kind of vehicle I want to see a Dave Batista in, because I feel like
Huh.
he would
That's
bring. You need
good.
somebody who's physically
Drax.
imposing.
Drax is pretty good.
Physically
Drax is pretty
imposing, but
good.
Drax is pretty good. Physically
Yeah.
imposing right from the jump. And like we did Knock at the Cabin this season. So we
Mm,
saw like here's what he's like
he
as
is,
the gentle giant. And he's,
yeah, and
in the world with humans
he's
and
kind of a
behaving.
dope
Yeah.
in that. Like he'd be a really good dope. That's a great
He would
answer.
have
Fuck.
I think he'd be a great I think he'd be great. What do you guys think? Who would be the wrestler as lead for the reboot of They Live?
Action, go ahead.
I mean, man, if so there was you said they were planning on doing it around like 2010,
Yeah,
supposed.
and this
So
still
this
like we
is
talk about every now and then, but like
yeah. I,
whenever you
I
want to think.
I feel like Dwayne the Rock, man. This is something that the Rock would have
I'm
excelled at,
listening.
man.
I'm listening.
I think Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
I think
But
if they were
but
doing
you're
it
saying
now,
Definitely.
I'm saying you're saying like if it was in the 2010s, you think it's a rock, it's a movie with the Rock.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie with the
it could
Rock
still
for
be The
sure.
Rock.
No, but
Yeah,
I'm saying I'm thinking like you think about that time,
But
the
I'm
kind of
hearing,
things that
yeah,
they had him
yeah.
doing and the kind of films he's doing, he could totally,
He could have done this for sure.
pre skyscraper, pre Jumanji, he absolutely
yeah.
could have done this.
He
I'm
could have
sure he
done
would have
this.
did this. I'm sure he would have told. I'm sure he has a nice story to tell with Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
I'm sure Piper probably went to Hawaii at some point in time. It worked. It worked. It worked with his grandmother and all of that. So
Sure.
Yeah.
there's probably some story to tie it all in together, man. It would have worked.
Um, I was thinking now.
Okay, so tell me now. Who do
Yeah.
you
So
think?
now it would be MJF, I believe, who is the current champion of AEW and was
Yeah.
in one of Gary's favorite movies of 2025.
I still haven't watched
Happy
it. I still
Happy
haven't watched
Gilmore
it.
2.
I still haven't watched it.
You
Oh
haven't
yeah.
watched
That,
it? Oh
that
man,
wasn't bad. That wasn't
he's
bad.
in it.
I know he's
Yeah.
in it. I still haven't watched Happy Gilmore 2.
I watched it in like 4 installments because I kept getting so bored.
I just I don't know. I gotta really be high to really appreciate it. I feel
This,
like I need to.
yeah, I don't know if you can get high enough,
I'm
man.
I'm
Maybe
a
you
little,
can. You
I
really
know.
like to be Halloween, and
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
if you like to be Halloween, you might be into this movie.
I gotta get that tolerance.
That sounded
level.
like you might be a redneck joke.
It might be.
If you like new Adam Sandler movies, you might like the new Adam Sandler movie.
But why do you think? Why do you think he would be a good representative and kind of play this role specifically?
You know what? I think he might actually even be better as Keith David, but I think he has the chops as far as like what you've seen from promos. He's been in some smaller roles, not unlike is this the first time Roddy's ever on camera for a movie?
Second, oh, he had a couple cameos before. He had a
Yeah.
cameo in like 1978, that Carl Reiner movie with where
So he's been in a couple of things. He's
Couple of
shown a little bit of chops.
Yeah.
The Adam Sandler spoke very highly of him in his press tour.
Mhm.
It was like, this kid is awesome. He's like, if he ever gets bored with wrestling, this is like second nature to him. And
He can
stuff
carry
like that.
this. Interesting.
He can be an actor. So like, I just think that dude has the chops necessary. He sells really well. I like him as one of the two. He could be either character,
All right.
to be honest with you.
There we
I
go.
feel like CM Punk would probably excelled at this, man.
I hear you.
Definitely in that Roddy Piper role. I feel like
Isn't there a movie with him coming out soon?
I believe so. Yeah, I think there's one that's out. Was it? I think it's
Is
like
it already out?
I
It's like
believe
a
the cop movie, the vampire.
yeah, it's a cop movie.
Yeah, I think that's a Netflix thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and like
I believe it.
what's his name? Uh, Justin Long.
Are you talking about Night Patrol
Is that Night Patrol?
with
Isn't
Freddie
that him?
Gibbs? With Freddie Gibbs?
Oh,
Yeah, Freddie
Freddie
Gibbs,
Gibbs.
him, and
Yeah.
CM Punk.
There you
I think
go.
are the
Yeah.
three main people.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I think it's already left theaters. It came out. It was a January movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
because it was a
it came out in
Netflix.
theaters. I thought it was a Netflix thing.
No,
I
I
think
think
it came
they
out
gave
in
it.
certain theaters.
They gave it like a little run
Yeah.
in theaters in like January, and I missed
Oh,
that
shit.
window.
Netflix
Okay.
always plays shit in New York City before it comes out. They
Yeah,
always
Really? Okay.
We,
Okay.
And I've been to an empty theater to see a Netflix thing.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I absolutely have. No question. This shitty action for sure. That's the world.
Hi, Gary.
Hey there, Jeff.
They live, we sleep. They live, we sleep. Listen, this is one of the first times in the history of this podcast where a movie I truly love with all my heart, we got to discuss it on the pod. It's very rare. There's movies I've seen a bunch of times, Toy Soldiers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2,
The Mask.
The Mask. There are ones I've seen a billion times, but there are also like they weren't movies that I truly like in my heart love. This was a real pleasure, and I only have one thing to say about it. They live, we sleep. They live, we sleep.
I have one little criticism of this film.
What?
I mean, I don't want to like. We had a very positive conversation.
There are criticisms for the film. Obviously,
our guest was phenomenal, but like my criticism of the film is a little niche, and I'll admit to it. Is that it's very hard at times, especially on my repeat watches of this film, because I've seen this now probably almost a half dozen times.
Sure.
And I'll say one of the hardest things on repeat watches is kind of knowing what I know now is it's hard to believe of Roddy Piper as this American everyman when he is just so fucking Canadian.
Guess who's Canadian, folks?
Guess who's Canadian,
He's
guys?
Canadian.
He was born in Saskatchewan.
Mm.
He was raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Right.
He has Scottish heritage, which is how his character for wrestling comes about.
I get that, but man, even then, it was just so obvious that he wasn't from Scotland. He was from Canada.
And in this movie, it's so obvious he's not from America. He is from North America. He is the A in his throat. The A is bursting to come out at the end of every sentence.
He wants it so bad.
He says sorry at one point, which I think
he is a pro at this point in his career at stifling his Canadianness as much as he can, but he just can't get rid of it all.
No, he's not
from there. It's just an accent that doesn't leave you. I'm from Canada, so they think I'm slow, eh?
Yeah, like there's very much this sort of suppression of welcome to Springton. There's this suppression of that goes on, but like you can tell how badly he wants to say A and things. So sometimes he throws in other things in there, to get there. But like when he says, like when he talks to the drone, and he's like he's using language and intonation that just makes very clear where he's from. And again, he's not a trained professional actor. So like we're not talking about somebody who is studied in that way. But at the same time, it's like as much as I appreciate it and I enjoyed, I enjoyed this. And like the two times we watched it for this episode, the first time I was very focused on the political commentary of the film. And on the second time
which is fantastic. I mean, it's something we didn't really touch on, but like the messages coming from the two polars. So like you had the people, the hackers that were on the TV, basically just being like, there are more of us than there are of them, and we're growing and we're growing and we're growing. We need to stop this and start that. And, very like straight-laced, factual, that sort of thing. And then the other side, which was just like, the messages are actually being obfuscated by magazines, billboards, television, politicians, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So like one is very direct, succinct, and in your face, and then the other one is like hidden behind levels of complicity.
So they're proactive.
They are. No, it's true. It's true. That doesn't change the Canadianness.
No. And I think that
And
just
I can see it's not a plot hole per se, but it is.
It's a quibble.
It's tough.
It's a
You could have
quibble
just
of mine.
said he traveled down from Canada. Maybe it's bad in Canada too.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect so, but it wasn't really addressed, and I think it's fine. Like, it doesn't make it a bad movie. It doesn't take
No,
away from it. It just
no.
sort of, when you're doing these rewatches and you find new things out of it. I'm sure plenty of people who've gotten this far in this episode have seen this movie before, probably more than once.
Isn't it like that girlfriend you always tell me you have in Canada?
My wife, who is Canadian, yes.
Yeah, you keep saying your wife's from Canada. Maybe, maybe she doesn't exist.
Maybe she doesn't. Well, I do rule over my household with an iron claw.
It's the Cabbages Podcast Network.